pineapple design. It's honestly way easier than it looks. All you need is a good yellow cat eye. This one is Honey Aura by NKK. I did 2 coats of this. The first layer was completely demagnetized and I magnetized on the second layer. And I'm taking this orangey brown jelly color and I'm creating 4 diagonal lines. And then I create 3 more opposite of those so they're crossing each other. I go ahead and fully cure that, and then I'm taking a darker brown color to create some dimension. I'm just going over those lines. I do like to keep these lines a lot thinner and more precise. At this point, it should already be looking like a pineapple, but we're gonna add some green leaves. Outline the cuticle area with your green color and create little triangles that drag out. This step does not have to be perfect. And now for the 3D part, I'm just using some rhinestone gel and adding a blob to the diamond. I'm spreading it out and shading in all of that diamond. I do make sure I flash cure in between because I do not want them to run into each other. When top coating this design, you want to make sure that you use a thin viscosity top coat and you do not teaching you how I did the citrus design. First, I'm layering these 2 jelly colors to get an in-between color. I don't want it to be too bright and I don't want it to be too dull. Then I'm taking my white polish and outlining the cuticle area. Think about it like an upside down French tip. You want both sides to be even. I added a white dot to the center for the core. For the line work, you want to have very light pressure. You're going to start by drawing a T and then drawing an additional line in each section, so you'll end up with 8 sections in total. And then you're going to round out those lines and create almost like a teardrop shape. You want to make sure the sections are even. So for this section on the right side, you can tell that it's way bigger than on the left. So I'm going to make that white line thicker. After I round everything out, I go ahead and furthermore divide each section one more time. Now these lines do not have to connect. You can just lightly drag it out. Try to make sure that line is dividing that section right in the middle. So make adding the 3D gel easier. Afterwards, take a darker orange and outline the cuticle area to create an orange peel. Once you've done all of that, go ahead and top coat. And now we're going to move on to the 3D design. As always, I'm using my Gen B Crazy Top because it's non-wipe, and I'm also using a small thin liner brush. In total, you're going to create 16 of these little teardrops. I like to do about 4 or 5 at a time and then I flash cure. But this is how it looks when it's all done. Today I'm going to be showing you how I did this dragon fruit nail. Starting off with my milky base, I did a thin layer of that, and then I took some black and a very thin liner brush and I added black dots sporadically. These dots do not have to be perfect. I did place it all over the place. Some of them are smaller, some of them are bigger. Once you're happy with that, you can go ahead and fully cure and do another layer of that milky color. After you cure that, you're going to go in with your black dots all over again. And honestly, if you're happy with how that looks, you can stop there, but I did do 1 more layer of that milky color and I did 1 more layer of the black dots. So in total, it's 3 layers of your milky white color and 3 layers of your black dots or your seeds. I just feel like doing 3 layers made everything seem so much more blended and it made it look very realistic. Afterwards, I took a hot pink color and outlined the border of the nail. When top coating, I did add a generous amount of top coat to allow everything to self-level and remove any bumps or lumps. And truthfully, you can stop there, but I did go in with my Gen B Crazy Top and I added some water drops on the nails. I did 1 big one and 2 smaller ones. Now, because this gel is non-wipe, I did not have to top coat afterwards. I just made sure I fully cured, and this is how the nail turned. Show you how I did this mango design. Starting off by doing 2 coats of this bright orange color. This one is Caliente by NKK. And then I'm doing a layer of this matte top coat and curing for 60 seconds. Today I'm doing the eyeshadow method for my airbrush. I'm using these 2 colors from this palette. When I do this method, I like to use a fluffy brush and I make sure my bristles are fully coated. I grab a generous amount and I lightly fluff it onto the nail in circular motion. In the center, I do want it to look more saturated, so I go in with an eyeshadow applicator and I darken that area up, and then I blend it all out with the brush again. Then I repeat those steps with the green color. When I'm happy with how that looks, I take a large fluffy brush and I just remove all of that extra fallout. And then I lock all of that in using my base gel. I use a generous amount and then I fully cure. For my little green leaf, I'm molding it out using my 3D sculpting gel by NKK. I start with my little ball and then I flatten it out very slightly, and then I drag out each end. You drag out the right end a lot more and create a little curve. Then I go ahead and fully cure that. Then I'm doing 2 coats of this green for the leaf. When I do this, I like to make sure the white is fully covered and it's not showing from any angles. After top coating, I did go in with my Gen B Crazy Top and I added some little water droplets, and that's it. I feel like this nail design looks so realistic and so yummy. Let me know if you try